Oh, hello. I want to talk about the Great Gatsby. In the book, The Great Gatsby by F. Scott Fitzgerald, the author portrays the 1920s as an era of decayed social and moral values. It's totally evident in its demonstrations of cynicism, greed, and empty pursuits of pleasure. The people don't seem to care about anything around them. One could visualize when you're reading the book all of the lavish lifestyles and frivolous spending and the reckless parties, the jubilance, all the reckless jubilance that led to so many decadent parties and wild jazz music. It all epitomized, or was epitomized in the story by all of the things that Gatsby, the madness that Gatsby created in all those parties every Saturday night. It all resulted ultimately in the corruption that seemingly in the corruption of the American dream. It was like an unrestrained desire for money and pleasure, and which seemed to have outweighed and surpassed more noble goals. I want to talk more about the symbols that existed in the story of the Great Gatsby, and so let's review some of them. I mentioned about the symbols. And when you think about the symbols, let's define symbols first. Symbols are objects, characters, figures that are used to represent abstract ideas or concepts, if you will. So when you think about symbols, you think about all of the things that exists from a story. A story with symbols. Symbols create the uniqueness in the story. In the story of the Great Gatsby's symbols, he created the symbol of the green light symbol. And with the green light symbol, I think that was really, really significant with the symbol for the American dream, so to speak. It was situated at the end of Daisy's East Egg dock and barely visible from Gatsby's West Egg lawn from his grass. The green light that was in the area represents Gatsby's hopes and his dreams for the future. He had these hopes every time he would stare and see Daisy's areas, Daisy's East Egg dock, the area where she lived in the East Egg. He had this wanton look, right, which was symbolic, right, and I said the word symbolic. And you have the prefix symbol. And I said symbolic. Everyone, symbolic? Good, symbolic. So symbolic of man's innate desire for more. All right, man's innate desire for the American dream, if you will. All right, man wants wants more. Man's greed. So, in chapter 1, the first chapter, he reaches out into the darkness as a guiding light to lead him to his goal, to finally get to his goal of Daisy. All right, that's his goal. Because Gatsby's quest for Daisy it's associated with that green light. The green light also symbolizes that even more. And later on, in chapter 9, Nick compares the green light to how America later is coming out of the ocean, where F. Scott Fitzgerald is getting a little deeper, right? He's thinking of the settlers discovering America for the first time. I mean, like immigrants. I mean, when you think of immigrants discovering America, their motivation is so they can have a new life, they can have more money, so to speak, right? Yeah. So that's the green light symbol. Symbolic. Everybody, think about that word symbolic. Everyone, symbolic, right? Symbolic. Good. Symbolic. Okay. The next symbol that I want to talk to you about is the symbol of the Valley of Ashes. Now, that was introduced to us in the second chapter, in chapter 2. The Valley of Ashes between the West Egg and New York, it consists of the stretch of land that was desolate, that had, and the word, I said desolate land. Everyone, desolate. And part of my teaching is I want to help build up your vocabulary so that you can become good speakers and great writers, okay? Because in order to be accepted in good universities, they're looking for students who have broad vocabularies. So keep that in mind. I want you to take notes. When I'm telling you the words, I'm writing down words, I want you to write them down as well. The word desolate. Everyone. Desolate. Hi. Good. Desolate. Desolate. What does desolate mean? Desolate. When there's no life, or when there's no anything, no existence, no existing life as we know it, right? So the city is on a long stretch of desolate land, and it's created by the dumping of all of the industrial ashes, right? Like a junkyard, or in English we like to say a ghost town sometimes. You know, I said the word. I said ghost town. A ghost town. Now, you think ghost town, you think ghost, ooh, ghost, Halloween, but ghost town where there's no life, it's also desolate, and there's nothing in existence when you think of a ghost town, right? So everyone, ghost town. Huh? Good, ghost town. So it represents the Valley of Ashes. You think of ashes, the word ashes. All of these words are symbolic. There's that word again, symbolic, right? Of a symbol, okay? These words are symbolic of a certain thing, a certain theme. The Valley of Ashes, something that's desolate, all right? Thinking of death, decay, right? This is representing the social decay that results from the pursuit of wealth, in a sense. Usually when people are looking for education, when you want to go to college, it's usually a very respectable thing to do, right? Sure it is. But in this situation, there's no particular aim or no particular goal. They're just doing it. It's new money. We have the new rich. That's what they call it. The new rich folks. All right. There's old money and then there's new money, and the people who acquired or they got the old money, they got it from working hard. The people who got the new money, they got it from either doing something wrong or it was inherited to them, and that's usually involving not a lot of honest work, or not a lot of hard work was done. So something to think about. It doesn't really command a great deal of respect, so to speak. The society often respects the person who works hard in order to get a lot of money. The hard worker, right? The Valley of Ashes is something that's representative of the moral and all of the things that's base and vile, that results from the pursuit of wealth. The rich indulge themselves with regard for nothing but their own pleasure, right? The Valley of Ashes, it also symbolizes the plight of the poor people who live in the area. We see George Wilson. He's the husband of Myrtle Wilson. The Myrtle is the lover of Tom Buchanan, right? Remember Tom Buchanan? And then we see his mistress, George, who loves her, but he is often really he doesn't feel sorry for her. He's just really annoyed with how she's having an affair, right? But he loves her. He still loves her. He knows what she's doing, but he loves her. You know, they live among the dirty ashes and they lose their vitality as a result, you know. And that's everything that's bad. The Valley of Ashes, they are willing to make sacrifices and sacrifice their own moral fiber, right? She's willing to sacrifice her morals, her fidelity, her truth, the idea of being true to her husband, and he's in a sense of willing to just sacrifice his integrity, his pride, right? Most men, and because he knows it, he knows she's having an affair, he knows she's cheating, right? But it's one of those things that he wants her to be happy. He doesn't want to lose her. If she's happy, then he has a companion, all right? And that's how it is in these depressing times. So that's the Valley of Ashes. Now, later on, I want to remind everybody, I'm going to have a quiz later. So keep this in mind. Take notes. Take notes. Okay. The next symbol I want to talk to you guys about, we have the eyes of Dr. T.J. Eckelberg. The eyes of Dr. T.J. Eckelberg. Now, we're mentioned about the eyes of Dr. T.J. Eckelberg, and they're like on a billboard. And I said the word billboard. Everyone, billboard. Good. A billboard is an advertisement structure that's used for selling advertisements. People would, if you want to sell something, you put your ads on top of these boards so that when cars are driving by they can see them, right? You'll see maybe a popular thing that you want to buy, Gap jeans, or maybe some other popular drinks, Coca-Cola, Pepsi, right? So, and they're on a billboard. So the eyes of Dr. T.J. Eckelberg are a pair of fading, bespectacled eyes painted on an old advertising, there it is, billboard over the Valley of Ashes. Now, some people may say they represent God staring down upon people and judging American society. That's how I looked at it. When I read the book, and I looked at them as judgmental eyes, right? And judging American society as a wasteland, looking down at the poor side of society, right? But the novel never makes this point. It doesn't really say that. You know, as most artistic situations, it's always up to interpretation, right? So I believe the author, Fitzgerald, he suggests that symbols only have meaning because the characters, they instill them, they show them with meaning. The connection between the eyes of Dr. T.J. Eckelberg and God exists only in George Wilson's mind, right? Inside George Wilson, we go back to George Wilson, you know, the husband of Myrtle, who is the lover or the mistress of Tom Buchanan, right? This lack of significance, it contributes to the nature of that image. You know, the eyes, they come to represent the essential meaninglessness of the world, right? The world doesn't really have any kind of meaning. You know, it's people usually have meaning when they're doing something. As I mentioned before, people usually, they get up in the morning and they go to work so they can make money. They move to another place so they can have a better neighborhood, and they want to make money. They try to get a raise in their salary. They want to make more money, so they move to another country. They want to make money. All right. So, but in this case, this is not really happening. So it's going both ways. All right. Is George Wilson actually going to do something about the infidelity of Myrtle? All right. Is he actually doing something? He's not really doing anything, you know, even though he already knows what's happening. All right. So I mean, we can assume that he knows that. So, you know, until it's in front of his face, and that's what we're led to believe. So, here's today's agenda. As you see here, we're gonna have a little speaking warm up, and followed by a writing practice, and then I'm gonna have a quiz, as I mentioned. We're gonna have a little quiz. Okay. So I'm gonna bring up my stopwatch on the board, and I'm gonna have you guys get into groups, and you're going to talk to each other based upon a topic that I'm going to give you, and it's based upon the Great Gatsby. Okay? And something that you've been doing during your reading of the Great Gatsby. So I hope you've been doing your reading. All right. And we're going to, in the writing practice, once again, a topic from the reading from the Great Gatsby. You guys are going to do a writing practice from the Great Gatsby. And then I'm going to give you a quiz based upon my lecture about the symbols, see how well you've been listening. And then I'll get you guys out of here. Okay? Okay, let's do it. All right. So, with the speaking warm-up, let's move along. Here's the topic. What did Daisy Buchanan? Now, Daisy Buchanan, we found that when she was talking to Nick, and she said to him, she saw her daughter, right? And it turns out that she was this really starting to become this really sad character, right? And we see her as this beautiful, alluring person, right? I use the word alluring, right? It's alluring. Everyone, let's hear you say it. Alluring, huh? Alluring. Good, very good. Alluring, alluring. Don't forget the tongue. Alluring. All right, good. She seems to be this alluring person in the beginning, but then later on, as we read more about her, she turns out to be this very, very superficial, childlike person who is also kind of cynical, who also has a very negative outlook on life, and there's an innocence about her, but yet there's a cynicalness about her too. I said the word cynical, and what is cynical? And I'll tell you about cynical. Everyone's cynical. Good, cynical. Cynical. You always. It's like you're a cynic. You're always negative, right? We say pessimistic, right? It's just like a pessimist. The glass is half empty, right? So this person is cynical. This person is always thinking and saying something negative about something or someone, okay? And the question here is, what did Daisy Buchanan mean when she said, the best thing a girl can be is a beautiful little fool? What do you think she meant by that? The best thing a girl can be is a beautiful little fool. I'm going to have you guys do a writing prep on this. I'm going to give you 1 minute to write the answer to this. All right? And then I'm going to put you into groups of 2. And then you're going to say your answers to your partner. Now, as you are saying your answers to your partner is going to write down the answer, write down what you're saying. Because later, I'm going to ask your partner, what did you say? And then we'll switch and do it with the partners. Okay? Are there any questions? Good. All right. So, here's the question. What did Daisy Buchanan mean when she said, the best thing a girl can be is a beautiful little fool? There's the question. Now, I'm going to put my clock, my stopwatch, because I love to work with my stopwatch. All right? I'm going to give you 1 minute, writing only, no talking. Ready? Start writing. Go! Okay. All right, good. Okay, so now I'm going to have you guys get into groups of 2. And I'm going to have you start talking to your partner. I'm going to give you 1 minute to talk to your partner. Now, as you're talking to your partner, let me reiterate, let me say that I want you, as you're talking to your partner, to look at the clock as you are speaking. It's really important that you watch the clock, all right? Because I want you to speak within the time. Try not to speak and end at 30 seconds or end at 45 seconds. I want you to try to speak as much as you can within 1 minute before the clock runs out, of course. Okay? Are there any questions? Good. You guys are really smart. Good. All right. Good. Okay. So, here we go. I'm going to put you guys together, you guys together, you guys together, you guys are partners, your partners, okay, your partners. Okay, good. All right, here we are. And decide who is going to speak first. And go. Okay, awesome. Okay, bringing it back to a minute. The minute again. Now, switch partners. We'll switch roles, actually. Okay, next partner. Okay, now you're talking. Ready? Now don't forget to watch the clock. Now the other person, now remember folks, because I was walking around, and I always walk around, I want you to take notes, okay? Take notes as you are listening. Those of you who are listening, remember to take notes. And when you're taking notes, you are writing down the key words. Don't try to write down the full sentences. You only want to write down the key words. It's really important that you do that, okay? Are there any questions? All right, good. Okay. All right, let's go. Next partner. Here we go. And start talking. Go. Awesome. You guys are doing very well. Nice job. Nice job. Okay, moving back. Okay, so with this question, I'm going to move on to the writing topic. And with the writing topic, it goes like this. Here's the writing topic. Now, in the writing topic, Nick Carraway made a reflection towards the end. If you remember, he made a reflection towards the end in the story right after the unfortunate demise of our Jay Gatsby. And he made a reflection that just as Gatsby's dream of Daisy was corrupted by money and dishonesty, the American dream of happiness and individualism has disintegrated into the mere pursuit of wealth. How does this reflection relate to the American and Chinese human conditions? Okay, once again, let me ask you that question one more time. So, Nick Carraway reflects that just as Gatsby's dream of Daisy was corrupted by money and dishonesty, the American dream of happiness and individualism has disintegrated. Now, the word disintegrated, looking at that in context, what do you think that means? The American dream of happiness and individualism has been destroyed, or has gone down, or diminished, or shrunken, right? Gotten smaller, been reduced. I said reduced into the mere pursuit of wealth. Okay, just the mere pursuit of wealth with no meaning, just doing it for the sake of doing it because it's fun. Okay? And which leads to the question of how does this reflection that Nick Carraway made relate to the American and Chinese human conditions? How does it relate to the American condition? And see, that means and how does it relate to the Chinese human condition? I want you to identify and write about both conditions and compare or contrast them as well. Now, when I said or, that means choose. Do one or the other, not both. Now, if I want you to do both, if I wanted you to do both, I would say, I would use the word and. But I'm using the conjunction or. Okay? I said the conjunction or. Everyone. Or. Good. And. Good. So and, that means both. Or you have one choice. You choose one. Now I said compare or contrast. Compare, when you compare, you tell if the things or the objects or the ideas are the same. To contrast, you tell if the things or the ideas are opposite. Okay? If they're opposite each other. Okay? So, you're talking about the American and Chinese human conditions. When you write about the American condition and the Chinese human condition, you want to, and if you're going to compare, choose compare, you talk about how the American condition and the Chinese human condition are both the same. You understand? I knew you would. You got it. You're smart. I knew it. I knew it. If you were to choose contrast, you'll talk about how the American human condition and the Chinese human condition, how they are different, how they are opposite of each other. I said how they are that's right, different. Okay, so that's what I want you to do. This is going to be a 20-minute writing exercise. 20 minutes, all right? I'll be walking around and checking your papers. If you have any questions, please ask, all right? What I want you to do is keep your mind on capitalization. Make sure you capitalize the first letters in your sentences. Think about your periods, all right? The punctuation is really important, okay? That's what I want you to think about, all right? And we'll work on the verbs. We'll work on which verbs and which kinds of verbs to use, all right? What kinds of tense verbs to use, okay? All right. So take out your paper, yeah, and try to write as clearly as possible so I can be able to understand it. All right? All right. Let's have some fun with the writing, all right? All right, let's do this. Let's do this. 20 minutes. Go. Okay, 20 minutes are over, and you've written your writing, and now, as I mentioned in the agenda, it is quiz time. All right, it's quiz time. All right. It is the quiz time. I know you guys are moaning and groaning. Oh God, quiz. All right. So if you were listening to my lecture, all right, you should get it. It should be easy for you, and it's not going to be a lot of questions. It won't be a lot of questions. All right. The questions that we'll focus on will be the questions about the symbols and the questions about the characters. All right, the characters and some of the symbols. Okay, that's what we're going to look at. All right, shows how well you were listening. Okay, listening comprehension is really important. I said listening. Comprehension. Everybody. Listening comprehension. What? Good. Listening comprehension. Nice job. Okay. You're getting it. You guys are really, really sharp. Okay. So going down to the quiz. My first question. All right. My first question deals with the themes and the symbols. It's my symbols quiz. And the question is, when do the events described in this novel take place? This is a multiple choice quiz. Multiple choice quiz. When do the events described in this novel take place? During World War II? At the beginning of the Great Depression? Okay. I'm going to hide that camera. In the early 1920s? Or at the turn of the 20th century? During World War II? At the beginning of the Great Depression? In the early 1920s? Or at the turn of the century? What do you think? The answer is in the early 1920s. In the early 1920s. All right, if you picked in the early 1920s, give yourself a pat on the back. All right, good. Nice job. Okay, good job. Okay, next question. True, false. True or false? Nick comes from old money. Nick. Where does Nick come from? All right, this is based upon some of your reading. All right, where does Nick come from? Nick comes from old money. True or false? What is it? That's true. Nick comes from old money. He does come from old money. He comes from old money. Old money. All right? He doesn't have any money. He comes from old money. Next question. What does the green light of the Buchanan's dock, what does Nick compare the green light of the Buchanan's dock to? What does Nick compare the green light of the Buchanan's dock to? What does Nick compare the green light of the Buchanan's dock to? Does he compare it to the human spirit, America, Gatsby's dreams, or money? The human spirit, America, Gatsby's dreams, or money? What'd you get? What'd you get? What did you choose? Well, I hope you chose Gatsby's dreams. All right, Gatsby's dreams. We talked about Gatsby's hopes and dreams, right? The green light was like that. His hopes and dreams of trying to get to Daisy, right? That of the American dream, similar to his dreams. His dreams. Not America, but his dreams. I hope you didn't say America. Don't get it confused. All right. So, next question. What does George Wilson believe the Dr. Eckelberg billboard represents? The Dr. Eckelberg billboard. You remember the Dr. Eckelberg billboard? The glasses, the eyes. What did he believe that the billboard represent? The eyes of God, his wife's lover, the human soul, or death? What'd you get? Well, I hope you said the eyes of God. Remember when we talked about, I mentioned that, the eyes of God, judging, the judging eyes, right? Right? If you got it, give yourselves a nice pat on the back. All right, good. Good job. All right. Okay. Next question. What does Nick find the upper classes as represented by Jordan? Remember the woman Jordan? Nick eventually takes her on as a love interest, Jordan. Tom and Daisy, right? What does Nick find the upper classes as represented by Jordan, Tom, and Daisy to be? How does he find them? What's his view of these people, these upper class people? How does he find them, of their personality? Tasteless, conservative, hollow, or ambitious? Tasteless, conservative, hollow, or ambitious? I hope you picked hollow. Now, what does it mean by someone who is hollow? Someone who's hollow, that means they have nothing inside them, right? They have no feelings inside them, right? The people of all of the new money, They have no purpose. There's no reason for getting this money, right? They're hollow inside. Very superficial. Superficial means you're shallow, right? So you have nothing. You're easily read, superficial. All you want are material things. You're very hollow, not viewed as very trustworthy or very smart, right? Okay. So the next quiz, we're going to focus on the characters. This is my character list quiz. I call this my character list quiz. See, character list quick quiz. All right. Here's my question. What is Nick's attitude toward Gatsby? What is Nick's attitude? How does he feel toward Gatsby? What do you think? What is Nick's attitude toward Gatsby? Does he think he's dishonest and lacking in taste, but still compelling? Is Nick constantly frustrated by Gatsby? Nick is indifferent about Gatsby, but enjoys his parties? Or does Nick see Gatsby as his doorway to a more exciting life? What? What do you think? Well, hope you picked the first one. Nick thinks he's dishonest and lacking in taste, but still compelling, right? He's still compelling. So when someone is compelling, that means that person is still interesting. And I said the word interesting. They are still interesting. Everyone, interesting. Huh? Good. Interesting. Interesting. Good. Good job. Okay. You guys are very, very sharp. Nice job. Okay. Moving on. Next question. So, what best describes Tom? How do we describe the character of Tom Buchanan? All right. When we see Tom in the book, what best describes him? How do we describe Tom? What do we think of Tom? Is he charming and mysterious? Is he arrogant and bullying? Is he quiet and gentle? Or is he loud and gregarious? Well, what do you have? Which one do you have? Charming, mysterious, arrogant? Well, I hope you pick arrogant and bullying, because remember when he hit Myrtle and he broke her nose. Yeah, that wouldn't be charming and mysterious or quiet and gentle. That wouldn't even be gregarious. That would be loud, but not gregarious. All right? That would be more of bullying. All right? If you hit someone and break their nose, right? So, sure, that's arrogant and bullying. Sure. That would be the best adjective. I said adjective. The best adjectives to describe Tom Buchanan. Right? Good. So, where do Daisy and Tom live? Do they live in Manhattan? Do they live in the East Egg, the West Egg, or in Chicago, which is my hometown? They live in the East Egg. If you pick the East Egg, good job. Not Manhattan. Didn't say anything about Manhattan. Didn't say the West Egg. And certainly not my hometown, Chicago. Okay? So, it is the East Egg. And what is George Wilson's attitude toward Myrtle? Remember George Wilson? I talked about George Wilson. I did mention about George. Remember George? Poor George, right? And the husband of Myrtle, the lover, who is the lover of who? Tom Buchanan, right, exactly. What is George Wilson's attitude? The attitude, his feelings toward Myrtle. What's his attitude? What's his feeling? What are his feelings? Well, he once loved her, but now despises her. Is that true? Or he idolizes her and is tortured by her infidelity. He's kind to her but does not truly love her, or he feels sorry for her. Which one is it? It's the second one. He idolizes her and is tortured by her infidelity. All right? He idolizes her. Yeah. But he's tortured by her infidelity. He loves her. He can't. Remember I mentioned earlier, I said he knows that she is cheating. She's having an affair. But he can't give her up, right? He can't confront her, right? Okay. We have time for one more. Who is Klipspringer? Remember Klipspringer? Remember Klipspringer? Who is Klipspringer? Klipspringer. Who is Klipspringer? Remember? Search your brain. Scratch your head. Who is Klipspringer? Okay, I think you know. I think you know who Klipspringer is. Klipspringer, is he Gatsby's mentor? A police officer? Myrtle's husband? Or a freeloader? He's a freeloader. And a freeloader, what does freeloader mean, folks? What does freeloader mean? Getting some vocabulary experience. A freeloader is someone who lives for free, right, in your house. They're not paying rent, right? They're not paying for the bills. They're eating your food. They're living off of you. And they're not paying for it. They're a freeloader. A mentor is someone who you get advice from. That person could be a teacher, could be your parent, all right? Someone who is a very wise person who you usually get your advice from, all right? That's a mentor. All right, if you got all of the answers, give yourselves a nice pat on the back. Okay, nice job, everybody. That's going to do it for our Great Gatsby lesson. And I'm Johnny Price, and I'll see you again soon. Take care. Peace.